What's up guys, MainManSWE here, hoping you're all doing awesome as always. Welcome to another Tekken lecture. Yes, my university series. But yeah, nice to have you here. Today we're gonna talk about playing safe, what that means, and effective range, which also kind of ties into that. So what is playing safe in Tekken? Well, pretty much what it sounds like, not taking unnecessary risks. I remember many years ago when I met for the first time the pro Tekken scene in Sweden, and I played my Kazuya the way I like to, you know, on instinct. I love to throw hell sweeps, twin pistons while standing 2, and they told me, you play way too risky. You shouldn't throw moves that are launch punishable. And were they correct? I thought so at first, but now that I know a whole lot more about Tekken, they're not correct, I would say, and there's a lot that goes into it. For example, we could take this as an example. Arslan Ash, amazing player from Pakistan, played at EVO Japan. But one match he fought that was not shown on stream, where he actually lost. He pretty much destroyed all Koreans, but when he lost to Boa Love, you've probably seen this guy with Kazuya. He plays crazy. He does a lot of hell sweeps. And in an interview, Arslan Ash afterwards said he lost that match. He said he lost to Boa Love, but he just couldn't see him as a great player because, in his opinion, he played so unclean, so unsafe. So I can't say I agree here. Like Boa Love, of course, he plays crazy, but that's his style. And what happened versus Arslan was that, just like Rian Johnson does with a shitty Star Wars movie, he completely subverted Arslan Ash's expectations of what a good Kazuya is. Arslan Ash went into that fight like, oh, okay, a Korean Mishima, they always rely on movement, they're very safe, they're very clean. But Boa Love, just like a Yoshi, goes crazy with flips. Boa goes crazy with the 50-50, relying on hell sweeps while standing 2, which is minus 18. So what a Kazuya should be for Arslan, I think, was completely thrown, you know, on top of its head. It was inverted. Something we can take a look at here, which I find quite interesting, is what Cambridge University dubbed or called the hell sweep paradox. So here I might have made that up, but this is a real thing. It's kind of cool. So here we have beginner ranks. Sorry for how I write. Here we have intermediate, and here, oh shit, and here we have high level play behind me there. And this is just overall amount of hell sweep. Here we have millions of hell sweeps, and here we have very few hell sweeps. In beginner ranks, people throw hell sweeps like crazy, the Mishima players, because they're so rarely blocked. So it's like this, a lot of hell sweeps. But what happens then is that somewhere in between beginner and intermediate, people start blocking hell sweeps. And what intermediate players love to do is just duck Mishimas all the time because they just expect the hell sweep. So the Mishima player adapts to this, and he tries to play more clean because he's heard he's not supposed to do launch punishable stuff all the time. But then what happens in high level play is actually that this is yet again inverted. Probably not to the high level of here, but it goes up very high again just because we want to subvert expectations. You're not expecting me to go about the green rank way of playing Kazuya. What a lot of people see as a green rank Kazuya, just hell sweep, hell sweep, hell sweep. Of course, these guys are not gonna be, they're gonna be very particular in how they place their hell sweep. It's gonna be with excellent movement. But what happens here is where people think, okay, he's hell sweeped me twice in a row, he's not gonna do it a third time, and then you get hell sweeped again. This is what happens here. It's the introduction of the no mix-up. So I just want to say with all of this that it's not very easy to say, you know, what is playing safe and what is not. What you want to do is win in Tekken. And if that happens in a clean fashion, as in, oh, I didn't take big risks. I built momentum with rather safe-ish pokes, you know, like down back 4 with Kazuya and while standing 4, and I still got the win. But can you say what Boa Love does is wrong when he's so obviously a super strong player? You really can't. So that, first of all, is very interesting in my opinion. And then we can talk a little bit about the relativity theory, you know, Einstein. No, not really. I can't spell. Relative. We're actually going to talk about this though. Oh, Jesus Christ. Like so. Relative. Safe for you is never about, you know, this move is minus 15, so I will never use it. No. As I told you at the start, it's wrong to say you should never use launch punishable moves. Right, and you see this tested all the time, actually, when you play ranked, when you play on Alisa, who just goes for snake edge, snake edge, snake edge. If no one ever punishes that snake edge, is it really unsafe? Ah, so dumb. But this is a thing. So let's see. We have character, player. Oh, Jesus. Okay, you can actually read it now. Nice. So, how you should play when it comes to safety is always going to be relative to the character as well as the player. So what do I mean with character? For example, Negan, if you press forward 1+2, has a power crush that is a launcher. Now that's a pretty strong tool, isn't it? But it's minus 15, so that's risky. That's not very safe. Most characters can hopkick or down for 2 us here, or like this. We get launched. But here's where you should do some analysis prior to your match. And perhaps, oh, it doesn't happen often, but this time I'm facing a Bob. Calculate quickly. Bob is one of the few characters who does not have a standing 15 frame punisher. He has up forward 3, his hopkick, but that's like 18 frames, I think. So immediately if you're playing Negan, oh, I suddenly have a mid launching power crush that he can't launch on block. The match is completely changed. Completely changes. And it's this sort of character to character analysis you should be doing in front of every fight. Like for example, Brian and Devil Jin versus Kazuya have some of their most important low tools launch punishable. Devil Jin down back 2, so the Devil Jin player, I won't use down back 2. If you're smart, you go with down 3 instead, which is minus 12 and still a pretty okay low poke. But the Brian matchup, for example, versus Kazuya, it's very hard for Brian to stay safe. Because if a Kazuya knows what he's doing, he's not gonna run into Brian, you know, has great keep out and counter hit tools. The Kazuya player will turtle, have Brian come to him. And what does Brian have to scare the Kazuya player with? Not a whole lot, to be honest. And the snake edge, you're probably not gonna throw that. That's gonna get blocked by a great player. You don't really have a throw game to break the turtle. You have a 1+2 throw, or 2 of those, and that's it. What you do have is a low hatchet kick, but that's to try and break the turtle, who's just stand guarding. There's no reason to duck Brian. So all you have is that low, which is +4 on hit and does a little chunk of damage, but if the Kazuya ducks that low, he will launch you. So suddenly you have a very skewed risk reward where the Brian, I have to throw that low to get him to duck, but at the same time it's twin piston punishable. The risk reward is entirely in the Kazuya player's favor there. But of course this is up to the players, their mind games, that sort of thing. But character to character is very interesting. try and analyze in front of every matchup, like, is there suddenly something here I can get away with? Like, oh, I have a move that's super good, but god damn it, it's minus 14. Brian can jet upper it. Law can 3+4 launch it. You know, you gotta be aware of that stuff. Or what I said with Negan and Bob at Power Crush. Some interesting things are there. And it's also, safety is also relative to the player. And this is something I explain in, if you've watched my green rank guide, I'm gonna link these below in our comments. So I suggest you check those out. There's a green rank guide and a light blue rank guide where I play ranked versus the low ranks. And here it's interesting because there are certain tools in every character move list that, you know, we talk about bloated move lists, but there are moves that are pretty much designed to be used in a certain player pool. Like, this is a beginner move, this is an intermediate move, this is a high level move. Like, for example, if you think about it, Kazuya's Rising Sun, up for 4-4-4-4, where we all laugh because it's so useless. Is it useless in beginner ranks? Absolutely not. But when it dies off very quickly, poof, back to 4. That's the intermediate Kazuya move. It takes skill to duck the second hit. But most people don't do that. So now you have a 14 frame fast, mid-high, that is +6 on hit, natural combo. And if they block the whole string, it's -2 on block. Do you know how good that is? Great poke, but of course, and then again you go to high level, and then that tool, poof, it disappears. If you ask high level players, back to 4, that's a shit move. But if people don't duck the second hit, it's one of the best goddamn pokes. And when you play in green ranks, most people don't duck that. So suddenly, I'll just do it all day long. Relative safety is relative to the player. Every time you start a new match of Tekken, test your opponent. What is his defensive knowledge? Oh, if he doesn't punish a move or know how to punish it, that move should be spammed by you, because suddenly it's like, in our little microcosmos here, our match, you and I, this move is safe. You're not punishing it. So safety, always relative to the character. Some characters are gonna punish you harder than others, vice versa. Some players are gonna punish you harder, and vice versa. Do you understand? I hope this makes sense. And this is tested, you know, by green rank players. All they do is test your knowledge. They go crazy and wild with their Asuka, with their Xiaoyu, with their Kuma. Highly obnoxious matchups, lab characters that require you not to only have a general rule understanding of your characters, but you need detailed grind knowledge, you know, PhD knowledge. So that's why they go crazy. Everyone is allowing them to do that because they never get punished. Sweet. God damn it. It's a complicated subject, so this is turning into hopefully not a too long video. I hope I still have some of you here. I do want to talk a little bit about effective range as well, and it's a very interesting topic, except I'm so sorry. I just want this to be readable, even to you guys who have like visibility handicaps. You can see that. Effective range. So what do I mean with this? Do you remember in our sidestep video where we talked about like Kazuya, for example, being very sensitive to sidestep left, Lars very sensitive to sidestep right? So there's a very effective way of stepping these characters. It's a design decision by Bandai Namco. This character, most of his move list is gonna track that way, not this way. And it's a design decision, very apparent. But there's also something like an effective range where a character is at their best. A lot of people, you know, are very annoyed with... oh shit, I'm gonna make a new layer for this. Oh god, I'm just exploding everything now, aren't I? Let's put in Paul here. There are a lot of you who are subscribed to my channel who really hate Paul. You even dislike me when I play Paul. Oh, fucking Death Fits, Demo Man. You guys hate the... oh shit, wait, my bad. To make this work, we're gonna make even a new layer, like so, okay. Death Fist. And this is of course his 50-50. Demo Man. He has excellent homing when you're standing close to him. You can't really step Paul. The Demo Man tracks. We have back 1, 2. And then is it up back 2? I think it is. Counter hit mid launcher. Great tracking. Oh god, of course. Quarter circle back 4. And his throws, man, his throws. Excellent throw game on Paul. Great throw mix-ups. Pretty damn good throw game. Now, what if I told you Paul is a highly effective character when you're standing right next to him, but we're gonna write here. This is close. And now I mean you're standing right next to him. And this, now I'm gonna show you how this matchup changes if you just do a little step back. It doesn't have to be a big backdash back there, a little tiny Dutch step, you know, folk dance. Like, let's say 1 step. Suddenly, the Demo Man, boom. It's not gonna get the clean hit it needs to float you and guarantee the whole string. The first hit is gonna clip you right at the knee, but then the rest is not guaranteed. You will block it and you have a chance to punish him. Back 1, 2 has got good range. Up back 2 has got good range. But if you are a big step away, these are gonna... no wait, what? They are gonna miss from 1 step away, but what I'm getting at here and what I should have said immediately is that what's scary with Paul when you're standing right next to him is his 50-50, of course. You know, he can do a mid, the Death Fist, or he can mix that up with the Demo Man, and you feel like you have to guess. And then he has an excellent throw game where also, like, you know, he can mix 1 break, 2 break, 1+2 break. And it just feels like, god damn it, what can I do? There's no effective way of dealing with him. What I'm getting to here is that if you take 1 step back, the Demo Man is not going to work. The throws are not going to work. He won't be able to reach you. He can reach you with a forward 2+4, you know, a universal long-range throw, you know, where you press forward as you're doing it. But those are all broken by pressing 1 or 2. So the throws are negated. If you're just 1 step away from Paul, the throws are negated. And even better is that if you're 1.5 step away from Paul, this is gone. All his homing moves are gone. And you'll be left with it, and most Paul players do this. When you're far away, they will resort to forward, forward, 4, or forward, forward, 2, 1. And they will probably just frame this. All of these are super steppable. So Paul, when you're standing right next to him, you can't really step. Great homing moves. Back 1, up back 2, quarter circle back 4. But when you're further away from him, he's a very linear character. Extremely linear. And you can very easily step all of these. So all I'm trying to say here is that the effective range of Paul is quite close. And you can see the same thing with Dragunov in that when you're standing right next to Dragunov, you're contending with one of the best throw games in the game, in my opinion. And he has back 1+2, which has very short range. But is it good when you're standing right next to him? Yeah, on normal hit, he knocks down into stomp. Huge damage. And on block, that's +6. That's a lot. And he has a snake edge, which is faster than other snake edges, that launches on clean hit. But again, if you just step a little bit away from Dragunov, suddenly back 1-2 doesn't hit, the throws don't hit, and the Snake Edge can't launch anymore because it needs a clean hit. And suddenly, what does he have to threaten you? Down 2 will probably clip you, but that's not a lot of damage or any frame advantage. He's actually at -1. He has Wild Running 2 for sure, but there's nothing inside of all of that when you're a bit away from him that will ever make you duck the character, because Wild Running 2 is always a threat. And Upward 4, which has some range. And he can go for, you know, the slide kick, quarter circle forward 3. It's got a lot of range, but it's launch punishable. And on hit, it's like -6, I think. Terrible frames. So I'm just trying to show you guys how the effective range works and how a character can be more threatening at a specific range. And what better example to show you guys the complete opposite, you know? A character where we want to be real close. Let's just think about my homeboy, Noctis. If you're standing far away from Noctis, Aura is suddenly pretty much homing. This is from range, I would say 1, 2, 3. It's got almost unlimited range. But if you're standing close, let's say close to him, it has 0 homing. 0. You know, it's very steppable. And of course, when you're standing far away from Noctis, he just controls the space so well. He has forward 2, he can throw his sword. If you're trying to do anything, get close to him. The Aura is homing, unlimited range, while running 1+2, up forward 1, counter hit. You know how great his range is. But so his effective range, if you're close to him, suddenly the character doesn't work because the wind up on all of these moves is so long. If you're up in his face doing like this, Aura is 25 frames. Down back 2, you hate that move as well. 25 frames. And suddenly Aura has no tracking. Like, obviously very weak to pressure, is built to be an artillery piece, to be far away from you and threaten you with long range swordy stabs. If you go up close to him, Noctis chokes. Too big of a wind up. Not really any good panic moves. He has down forward 2, but that's -20. So I hope this effective range also went home to you guys. Yeah, I just wanted to give some examples, of course. This video is 23 minutes now, but I'm gonna make a video where I talk about the general rules of the characters. Much of this will tie into that, but I just wanted to explain the concepts. And again, this is very complicated. It is relative to the player, it is relative to the character. Range has got something to do with it, and of course the sidestep guide. Sidesteps, you know, the tracking of the different characters has a lot to do with it. Tekken is a very complicated game. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it was at least slightly enlightening. And I'm gonna wish you a lovely day. Take care.